teacher tip video. This time we're going to be looking at our elementary engineering design bag, and this is bag number 2. For this bag, students are going to get a chance to do 3 different challenges. 1, they're going to get to play with boats. 2, they're going to get an opportunity to fly some airplanes. And then 3, they're going to build some towers. So we'll jump in a second. This is what the bag looks like. Each student will get their own. These are all the materials that are in the bag. A couple things students are going to need to have available to them. They're going to need some water for the boat activity. Probably going to want to have some paper towels, and a pair of scissors would be helpful. So let's go ahead and get started with the first activity, which is float your boat. The challenge is going to be to have students go through the engineering design process of trying to think about something that they can get to float, and then see how much weight it can support. What we're going to use for our floating area is aluminum foil pan, and you're going to need to get about 3/4 of the way full. The next thing the students are going to have to do is the first part of the activity is trying to float an aluminum foil boat. So the students get a piece of aluminum foil and an index card, and that's what is the template for the size that they get to use for their boat. So they would trace that and then cut it out. I've done that already. And then their challenge is to try to make this piece of aluminum foil float, and let them decide however they want to give it a shot. Here's mine, and then all they got to do is test it by placing it into our little pond. Once we get it to float, then we want to see how much weight it can hold. And we do that by adding these glass gems one at a time until it sinks. So I'll just see what happens here. Oop. Boom. So the 4th one had it sink, so therefore on this boat I was able to successfully hold 3 of the weights. And students will get a chance to go back, redesign it, cut new templates, and do it over and over again. And each time, hopefully, they're doing a different design, trying something out, and going through that engineering design process. And you can always refer back to this because this is a nice little guide for our students to use. All right. Students will have success with the aluminum foil, which is great. And it sets them up for the next challenge, which is where they have to use clay to serve as their boat. And what we do is we give them a full stick of clay. First thing they do is cut it in half, put half of it away, and save it for the other 2 activities. The other half a stick of clay, they need to cut that in half and use only that much of the clay, which is basically 1/4 of a stick of the clay, as their template. The nice thing about the clay is it doesn't float. So it is quite a challenge, and students get an opportunity to try to work through it, make a boat, and give it a shot. I haven't tested this one yet, so we'll see. So we got it floating, looks like it's barely hanging on, and do the same thing. Obviously wasn't able to support any weight. But awesome opportunity now again to go back, play with it again, redesign it, try different things. We actually have one group of students that at the end of doing the clay boat challenge incorporated the clay and the aluminum foil together and really had some really cool designs. So literacy connections, lots of resources available in our teacher resources tab, so check that out. But this is how we do our float your boat activity for the engineering design pack number 2. All right, welcome back for activity 2 of our engineering design bag number 2, and the activity is tallest towers. So in this activity, we're going to give students some limited materials and ask them to try and design and build the tallest tower. It's really not important that they get the tallest tower, but the process that they go through of coming up with a design, thinking about it, sketching it out, and then trying to build it and see how it does. And of course, along the way, they're going to have many towers fall apart, not work. And that's all the beauty of engineering, is they get to fix it, try it, and do something else, and continue to improve on their original design. So for the first activity, or for this activity, they're going to use little coffee stirrers, small little black straws as the building materials, along with the half a stick of clay that they used, that left over from the boat activity. So the first challenge is to only use 10 straws and the half stick of clay and try to build a tower as tall as they can. So 10 straws and as much of the clay as that they want to use. We ask them to design it first and think about it, and then go ahead and give it a try and see what happens. So here's a basic idea of one that I put together just a few minutes ago. It's in no way an award-winning tower, but it's an idea of what students might be able to put together. Again, 10 straws, as much clay as they want, and see how tall the tower they can build. And then we've got a nice little tape measure here for them. They can go ahead and get the height of it and keep track of each time they designed it, how tall was it, and continue to make improvements throughout. Second part of the activity, they get 10 additional straws. So they're going to get 20 straws and as much clay as they want to use. Same challenge, but now they have twice as much straws, which seems like a huge advantage. And students have we get to explore what does it mean when you have 20 straws instead of 10, and they see how tall of a structure they can build. And then the last challenge has to do with supporting some weight. So we get one of our glass gems from the boat activity, and part 3 is using the 20 straws and the clay. What's the highest you can support one of these glass gems? So it doesn't really matter what the tower looks like, wherever that glass gem is, that's where you measure from the ground, and the challenge is to see who can get the glass gem high off the table, or as far off the table as they can with everyone in the class. So that is our tower design. Students will have a lot of fun, a lot of opportunities to design, build, fail, try again. And again, a lot of resources available online to help you do these in your classroom. All right, so we are here for our third activity of the elementary engineering design bag number 2. And the activity is called Taking Flight. We're gonna have students build a template of an airplane, and then they get an opportunity to do lots of stuff with that template, change it however they want. For this activity, you're going to need to have a pair of scissors, and first thing you need to do is build our template airplane, and these instructions are right in the teacher's guide. I'm just going to walk you through them quickly. First thing is to use the large straws that are in the kit, and what you need to do is make a slit on either side. So what we do for this, we suggest putting the straw or the scissors in the straw and making one cut that way, and then one right on the other side. So when you're done, it'll look like that. You got that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And if you need to go a little bit further, you can. And if you make a mistake or if it doesn't work out, you've got 4 extra straws if the kids do have some trouble. Once they make the 2 slits in the straw, then they need to make the front and the back wing. And the way we do that is to use the templates that are in the teacher's guide or in the student activity bag, and they need to use a piece of the chipboard, and they simply just trace it and cut it out. I did that already, and that's what they look like. So those templates are in the bag along with the chipboard. The other thing they need is a little piece of the clay left over from the tower or the boat activity. Next up, they have their wings cut, they have their clay. Now they put one of the wings, could be the front or the back, we call it the front, but it's up to them. Slide it right in there, and what we do at the front is we put a little piece of clay in the front to serve as a weight, but also to keep the as kind of a nose cone. And then the other template, the other wing, we slide in the back. And that is our prototype airplane. What students do is they'll start flying it, and at this point there's different challenges. They can see how far they can get them to fly, and they can change anything they want. If they want to use different materials, if they want to cut out different types of wings, add or reduce some of the clay, however they want to change the prototype they can. Not only trying to see how far they can get it, but also see if it can do some tricks. We want to see if they can get it to do a loop-de-loop, turn left, do all kinds of different tricks. So this is one of those opportunities where students are going to need to have some area. If you have space in a hallway or somewhere outside, it's a great place because these things can travel a pretty good distance, and it's nice if they're all kind of throwing the same direction so that they're not dodging each other's airplanes. But this is Taking Flight, and this is the third activity in our elementary engineering design challenge bag number 2.